Hey guys, today I want to tell you about Michael's story. Michael is one of the dads who messaged us through our page. This is his story. When the judge read the decision, Michael felt the air leave his lungs. Supervised visits, alternate Saturdays, no overnights. His son was 7, his daughter was 4. They had once run to the door when they heard his car pull in. Now, because of allegations, delays, adjournments, and a system that moved slower than his breaking heart, he was reduced to a visitor in their lives. He walked out of the courthouse holding a folder full of paperwork and a silence that felt heavier than concrete. The hardest part wasn't the accusations. It wasn't the legal fees that drained his savings or the nights he stayed up researching case law, highlighting paragraphs at 2 a.m. It was the empty bedrooms. He had kept them the way they were. His son's dinosaur posters still covered the walls. His daughter's stuffed rabbit still lay tucked into a small pink pillow. Sometimes he would stand in the doorway and just breathe, trying to remember what it felt like to be needed in those rooms. His ex-wife had stopped answering his calls directly. Communication was reduced to clipped emails and parenting apps that felt more like evidence logs than co-parenting tools. Weeks turned into months. Court dates were postponed. Affidavits were filed. Every time he thought progress was coming, another delay would stretch the distance between him and his children. The supervised visits were the most painful gift he had ever received. He would sit in a brightly lit room with plastic chairs while a stranger took notes as he played with his kids. His daughter clung to him at first, confused why he couldn't just take her home. His son asked once, quietly, "Dad, did you do something bad?" That question cut deeper than anything written in any affidavit. He forced a smile. Nobody. Sometimes grown-up stuff just takes time. After each visit, he would walk back to his car and grip the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. He never cried in front of them, but alone he unraveled. The legal bills stacked up. He sold his boat first, then his motorcycle. He picked up overtime shifts, exhausted himself, and stopped seeing friends because he couldn't afford dinners out. But the financial pressure was nothing compared to the psychological weight. He began to believe the narrative. Maybe he wasn't good enough. Maybe he had failed as a husband, and now he was failing as a father. Sleep became rare. He would scroll through old photos on his phone at night, enlarging their faces with his fingers as if he could somehow reach through the glass. One evening, after receiving yet another email from his lawyer explaining another adjournment, something inside him cracked. He sat in the dark kitchen long after midnight. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. The loneliness felt suffocating. He thought about how tired he was. Tired of fighting. Tired of being misunderstood. Tired of feeling like a ghost in his own children's lives. For the first time, the thought came clearly. Maybe they'd be better off without me. It scared him, but it also felt like relief. No more courtrooms. No more accusations. No more supervised rooms with strangers writing notes. Just quiet. He stared at the wall for a long time, lost in the heaviness of it. Then his phone buzzed. It was an old video memory notification. He almost ignored it, but something made him tap. It was his daughter, 2 years earlier, sitting on his shoulders at the beach. She was laughing wildly, hair blowing in the wind, shouting, "My dad is the strongest." He watched it 3 times. Then he broke down completely, not because he felt weak, but because he realized something in that moment. If he left, the story being told about him would become permanent. His children would grow up with silence where his voice should have been. They would never know how hard he fought, and they would never get the chance to decide for themselves who their father was. That night didn't magically fix everything, but it stopped him from giving up. The next morning, he called a men's support line. His voice shook. He didn't even know what to say at first. "I'm just tired," he admitted. The counselor didn't judge him, didn't rush him, just listened. For the first time in months, he felt heard. He started seeing a therapist weekly. He joined a local dad support group. Men going through similar battles. Some had once shared custody. Some were still in the trenches. All of them understood the quiet despair. He began rebuilding himself, not just for court, but for life. He exercised again. He limited late-night snacking. He learned to document calmly instead of reacting emotionally. He focused on becoming the most stable, grounded version of himself possible. Not to win, but to be ready when his kids needed him. Court continued. It was still slow. Still frustrating, but something had shifted. When he walked into the courtroom now, he carried himself differently. Not defeated, not angry, steady.
The supervised reports were positive.
Every single one. The monitor noted patience, warmth, consistency. Over time, small changes began. Unsupervised day visits. Then extended time. Then eventually, after nearly 2 years of relentless persistence, therapy attendance, and documented stability, shared custody. The day the final order was signed, Michael didn't celebrate loudly. He just sat in his car and let the weight lift. That weekend, his children stayed overnight again for the first time in years. His son helped him make pancakes in the morning. His daughter dragged her blanket into his bed before sunrise and whispered, "I miss this." He realized something profound in that moment. The fight hadn't just been legal. It had been internal. He had battled despair, shame, isolation, and he had survived. Years later, his son asked about that period. "Dad, were you scared?" Michael didn't lie. "Yeah, I was, but I loved you more than I was scared." That was the truth. He had come close to the edge, but love had pulled him back. Not perfectly, not instantly, but enough. To the dads reading this who feel like the system has swallowed you whole, to the ones staring at empty bedrooms, to the ones counting days between visits, to the ones sitting alone at night wondering if anyone would notice if you disappeared, your children may not see the paperwork. They may not understand the court delays, but one day they will see your consistency. They will see that you stayed. They will see that you fought without becoming bitter, and they will know. The darkest night of Michael's life did not define him. The choice to stay did. And sometimes staying is the bravest fight of all. If you're struggling right now, please don't fight alone. In Australia, Lifeline is available 24/7 at 131114. If you're elsewhere, contact your local crisis support service or a trusted professional. Reaching out isn't weakness. It's strength in action. Your story isn't finished, and your children's story with you in it is still being written.